Welcome to Ring Noel. I know this, probably you've heard this before, but if you have a cell phone, could you silence it? Because many times, right in the middle of a critical moment, ding! So even though we love bells, we would just like not to hear yours today. Okay? For thousands of years, people have rung bells in ceremonies. Ancient Egyptians and Romans used bells in worship services. In medieval times, from 1,000 to 500 years ago, people believed that bells scared away evil spirits. The bigger the bell, the greater the power. Bells were hung in doorways, and before entering a house, one would ring the bell so the spirits wouldn't enter with the guest. Probably that's where our modern doorbell originated. So if you've got a big bell, you're going to keep those evil spirits out of your house. And you know, churches have huge bells. So we don't ever have evil spirits in our churches. People didn't have clocks back in the day, so they trusted church bells to tell the time. Bells were run at 6 a.m., noon, 6 p.m. every day, and to warn of danger when someone had died and before church services. About 500 years ago, a man in Holland figured out how to tune bells so they would make musical notes. Churches added more bells so they could make music. If they had from 12 to 23 bells, they could play almost every song. Men, who were usually monks, pulled the bells by hand. And in the 1600s, bell makers took the Dutch man's idea, and I'm Dutch, so I'm very partial to this, and learned how to cast or form bells, so they would play a certain note. Bells of the same size and material all ring the same note. For example, picture a bell that is 36 inches across, where the clapper hits the insides, and this size bell will always play the musical note A. To get the exact size, workers grind off metal from inside the bell. The bigger the bell, the deeper the note. The smaller the bell, so TT, ring one of my high bells. Alicia, ring one of yours. Big bell, low sound, high bell, little tinkly sound. So, tower bell ringers or church bell ringers developed handbells. These were developed simply as a way for them to practice their music. And if you go to Europe, you'll often hear bells being played at noon or at evening, and they're playing the big bells. But pretty soon, people started enjoying the handbell music for itself. In the early 1900s, a Boston woman, Margaret Shorcliffe, learned to ring tower bells in England, and she was so good that the English gave her a set of handbells when she returned to the States. She, her children, and her friends began giving concerts, handbell concerts, at Christmas. The idea of a handbell concert caught on, and it became a Christmas tradition in America, and they are not part of the English Christmas tradition. That's where you get figgy pudding. We get handbells. Handbell choirs have become very popular in the U.S. Most choirs have about 13 members, and each ringer rings 2 to 4 bells. There are unfortunately no stars in our handbell ensemble. We're all stars, and we have to work together. It becomes a great team sport, develops lots of patience, till everyone gets the measure right, and sometimes it's 3, 4, 5, or how many? 8, 10 times to get it straight. And the final ringing is a living keyboard. Carols were first sung in Europe thousands of years ago, but they were not Christmas carols. They were pagan songs sung at the winter solstice celebrations as people danced around stone circles. The winter solstice is the shortest day of the year, usually around December 22nd. And the word carol actually means a dance or a song of praise and joy. Carols used to be written and danced and sung during all 4 seasons, but only the tradition of singing them at Christmas has really survived. Early Christians took over the pagan solstice celebrations for Christmas and gave people Christian songs to sing instead of the pagan ones. After this, many composers all over Europe started to write carols, but not many people liked them, as they were written and sung in Latin, a language that most normal, ordinary people didn't know and couldn't understand. By the time of the Middle Ages, the 1200s, most people had lost interest in celebrating Christmas altogether. I know that's hard to believe in our Christmas frenzy. This was changed by St. Francis of Assisi when in 1223 he started his nativity plays in Italy. The people in the plays sang songs or canticles telling the story during the plays. Sometimes the choruses of these new carols were in Latin, but normally they were in a language that the people watching the play could understand and join in. So the new carols spread to France, Spain, Germany, and other European countries. In 1647, Oliver Cromwell and the Puritans came to power in England. Boo hiss, because celebrating Christmas and singing carols was completely stopped. However, carols survived as people still sang them in secret. Can you imagine that? We're doing something that years ago you would have been thrown in jail for. Carols were not sung publicly until the Victorian times, when two men, William Sandys and Davis Gilbert, collected lots of old Christmas music from the villages in England, and thanks to them and other collectors, we now have a wonderful group of carols to use to celebrate Christmas. The first song that we're going to do is called Jingle Bell-O-Rama, and it is a takeoff on Jingle Bells. So if you hear some strange chords, we're not really making mistakes. This is the way that, well, maybe, but this is the way the composer thought of Jingle Bells. So we're going to start with that one. Let's give them a hand of welcome, right? I'm so glad our pastor Lupita is well enough to come today. Yes, we're glad you're here. She's been battling bronchitis. Okay, bells up. 1, 2, ready, chime. it's your turn to try to ring a handbell. So we have handbells in boxes on all the pews. So we need some people at each place, otherwise the song won't sound too good. So there's A, and we'll have ringers come down and show you. So, come on down. I don't care, just find one. Take your bell. Take one of your bells. What one do you have? B flat? B flat's in the corner. Okay? It's over there, behind Tom. Elaine, you have to get up. Find a bell. It's more fun if you find a bell. Please put a glove on if you're holding the bell because you have oil on your hands even though you don't realize it. So, and give them a glove. Can you take a cup? Everyone take a bell here? Yeah, you only need one, but you better find out if it's the hand you want to use. Yeah, well, maybe Dick should have the big bell. Yeah, they're all A's. It's in there. It's in the box. You don't have to read music. All right. There's more than 2 copies. If you get the music, when the word is circled, you ring your bell. That's all you have to worry about. Okay? Is there another set of bells? Down there. Do we have people at all the bells? What? Well, what one is your brother? Okay. I will be here in the middle. Okay? Well, who's at A flat? Every time does he have A flat? Yes, maybe not on this song. Okay, can I get your attention for a minute? You should have a bell in your hand, like I have a C. And on these bells, there is a little triangular thing sort of at the top of your bell. Make sure that's facing you. It looks like a trident. You have to turn your bell so that trident is facing you. Okay? Everybody see the trident? All right, now, make sure the book you have corresponds to your bell. Like I have a C, I have bell book C. Does that make sense? Yes. Okay, that's good. All right, when you ring a bell, you hold it not with your finger on it. You hold it like a tennis racket, okay? And the ringing of the bell is you move your arm this way. Can people see me? Move your arm this way, and when you stop your arm, it rings. So you go like this. Do not, just a minute, we don't want anybody going away with carpal tunnel. Do not ring your bell like this. It's not your wrist. It's your arm that stops the sound. Yes. Oh, that's good. Heather, you got a winner there. Great bell. Yeah. Okay, don't bend your wrist. It's your arm. You stop your arm. You just go, and you're like a train. You know how a train goes? Like this? That's how you bring your arm around. And when you get up here, you stop it. Okay, on the count of 3, everybody try to ring their bell. Now, you got to hold it, though. You got to hold it kind of tight because we don't want anybody's bell flying and hitting the person in front of them, okay? So 1, 2, 3. All right, we practice Sunday mornings. We'd like you all there. Okay, we're going to do Silent Night. That's our first song that we're going to sing. And the starting pitch is an F. Who has an F bell? Would you ring it?
I have a bell.
Does your bell book D match your...
Yes, yeah, it's on the other side. Just right side. Bell book D.
Perfect. One time we did this with a bunch of pastors. It was very embarrassing because they had the wrong books. Oh, it was not fun. It was kind of like, oh, I don't want to be associated with this group. Okay, so our starting pitch is an F. So could you guys hit your F just once? Perfect. Let's try it. And we're going to sing, everybody got Silent Night?
Yes.
We're all on the same song?
Yes.
Good.
Same song.
Okay. All right. Hit our pitch again.
Ring on the circle.
And oh, when it's circled, you ring. When it's underlined, you sing a little louder. Okay? But when it's circled, you ring. Everybody got that? Okay, let's get our F again. Okay. Silent night. Is that right? No. Let me hear an F again. Thank you. Let's go. 1, 2, ready, sing. Silent night. Holy night. All is dark. All is bright. Round your mother and child. Holy is so tender and mild. Little faster. Silent night, holy night. Shepherds quake at the sight. Glory streams from heaven above. Heavenly hosts sing hallelujah. Christ the Savior is born. Christ the Savior is born. Silent night, holy night. No, I'd like to go over there because we need some. Okay, and he needs a glove. So, okay, good job. All right, our next song. Whoa. And the program, what does it say? Away in the Manger?
Next one, Away in the Manger.
We're going to do Away in the Manger. And remember, when your note is circled, you ring, and the rest of the time you sing. Okay, and you guys were great. Yeah, and it sounded beautiful. Angie, go get a bell. Come on. Melissa, come on. Get a bell. We'll give you gloves. No excuses. Okay, everybody turn their page to Away in the Manger. Okay, we want to be on the same song. Okay, and when your note is circled, you ring. If your note isn't circled, don't ring. Just sing, okay? Make sure you have the right bell with the right book. Okay, our starting pitch is B flat. You got a B flat down there? It's B. Away in a manger, no crib for a bed. The little Lord Jesus laid down his sweet head. The stars in the sky looked down where he lay. The little Lord Jesus asleep on the hay. The candles are glowing, the poor baby wakes. But little Lord Jesus, no crying he makes. Unloving Lord Jesus, look down on the sky and say, "When my cradle till morning is nigh, hear me, Lord Jesus, I ask thee to stay close by me forever, and help me, I pray. Bless all the dear children in thy tender care, and take me to heaven to live with thee there." Wow, you guys are getting better. Okay, next one is what? Oh, there's only two?
And then we play the rest later.
All right, you get to put your bells down. Except for my ringers, take your bells. We're going to do a couple of pieces now, our little concert. And, yeah, good, don't leave. The first song that we're going to do is called O Come, Emmanuel. It's arranged by a man, Charles Maggs, and it was originally written in the Latin text in the 12th century. And of course, they don't know who really wrote it or who wrote the words, but it's believed that it was a French song and that the text was added to that song that people sang about 100 years later, this version that we know. It's in a minor key, because historically, a minor key was considered much more powerful, and any song announcing the Savior of Israel would only be sung in a powerful key. So it's kind of sad sounding, but that's a minor key. This version is arranged by Charles Maggs. He is a computer software engineer, and we met him because we went to a conference and he was one of the presenters. And I said to him, "I'm so grateful for the bell carols and songs that you've arranged because they're fairly easy, and since we play every Sunday, I really could use some easy songs." And he just smiled and he said, "Thank you." And having him as a teacher was great. And this particular song, just listen for the variations, because sometimes you can make the bells loud, and sometimes, if you're really lucky, you can make them soft. So that's what we're striving for in this song. So we'll see if we do it. Our next song is Come Thou Long Expected Jesus. This was arranged by Susan Getchke, and the words were written by Charles Wesley. And since we're a Methodist church, and the Wesleys were very influential, we like this song. Charles wrote hundreds of hymns and poems and was one of the most prolific English poets. His hymns witness to the power of God in Christ today and in every age. He and his brother, John Wesley, founded Methodism, so we're grateful for the music and for the theology. Come Thou Long Expected Jesus is a great song for Christmas, focusing on the long-expected Jesus, who was born to set us free from sin and to bring us salvation by his death. Susan Getchke does some interesting things with this bell arrangement. Watch for martellados. Martellados are where we hit the table and bring the bell up, and where the ringers try to stop the sound, and we try to do it together. Our next song is O Come, Little Children. And Christmas is, after all, a children's holiday, and many hymns are addressed to children, reminding them, that the real reason for the sugar plums, the presents, and the Christmas trees is the celebration of the birth of the Christ child. Christoph von Schmidt, a Catholic priest in Germany and a school teacher, wrote the words to this carol. He was known in his native Germany for the books on morals and religion that he wrote for children. The melody was written by Johann Abraham Peter Schultz, himself a child prodigy, can you imagine this? Who at 15 went to Berlin to study under Johann Philipp Kernberger, an organist who had been a student of Johann Sebastian Bach. Schmidt then included in his 1818 collection, Flowers Dedicated to a Flowering Age, and together with other poems from this collection was then set to music by Franz Xavier Luft in 1837. So this hymn's been around a long time, and we're going to play it on bells and on what we call hand chimes. So just hear the difference in the sound. Our next song is Chatter with the Angels. And it just talks about the fact that when Jesus was born or was coming, that the person thinking about it thought the angels must be so excited that finally the Messiah is coming. So they wrote this song, and it's a spiritual, thinking that the angels were just talking among themselves, and they were so excited that the Lord finally arrived to the earth. Haidem Haidem. It's a Czech carol, and it was arranged by Tom Mitchell and Martha Lynn Thompson. The traditional Czech carol is Shepherds Watch Their Flocks by Night, was originally a unison vocal anthem arranged by Tom Mitchell, but Martha Lynn Thompson heard it, and so she transcribed it and arranged it for handbells. She makes numerous use of many handbell techniques, like hitting the table and then lifting the bell or just thumping it. And we do LV, that means we let it vibrate, we don't stop the sound, and it gets pretty interesting. The lyrical middle section is kind of a contrast, so you'll hear that. And it's a favorite piece, and I played it one time, and one of my friends who was Czech said, "Oh, that just brought back memories of my childhood." And I went, "Wow, you could recognize it, that was good." And the fact she knew it was pretty amazing, because I had never heard it. I heard it at a bell conference and said, "That's so cool, we have to do it." So we're going to do it. One, two, ready, chime. Let's start again. We're not together. And I forgot to say Joel is our percussionist. So, try. 1, 2, ready, chime. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Our next song is Away in the Manger. It was arranged by Kevin McChesney. We also heard Kevin McChesney at a Bell conference when there were 400 people ringing and he had to climb up a step ladder to get to a podium so that everybody could see him directing. It was amazing. This particular Away in the Manger was originally published in 1885. It is not written by Martin Luther, even though everybody thinks it is. Sorry, all you Lutherans out there. But it was published in a Lutheran Sunday school book. So that's how it created the misconception that Martin Luther wrote it. The music for this version is composed by James Kilpatrick in 1895 and is one of the, are you ready? 41 different tunes associated with these words. It's a very quiet piece from the pen of Kevin McChesney. Kevin was awesome, and when we went there, we were sort of a novice group. When you come with the bells, you're only as strong as, it's like a chain. The weakest link, that's where you stop, because we want to make sure all our ringers get to ring. But we were the only novice group there that year. And formerly, before that, we were always in one of the more advanced groups. So we got to work directly with Kevin. And I thought, he doesn't really know what a novice group is, because, oh my gosh, he expected us to do things that it was just like, you've got to be kidding. And finally, he said, okay, and he brought in some other people to help play with us, because he had this piece, and you know, he was the composer. He knew exactly how he wanted it to sound, and we weren't quite meeting his expectations. So this piece, he's a wonderful arranger, and this is just one of his wonderful pieces. Elsa. One, ready, John. 1, 2. How about doing it, Laura? All right, we'll do it again. 1, ready, don't start. 1, ready, John. 1, 2, 3, 1. Our next piece is He is Born. It's arranged by Arnold Sherman. We also were privileged to hear him direct one time. And it's a French carol. It's a familiar percussive piece using martellatos where we hit the table and thumb damps where we stop the sound of the bells. They said that this tune in the shorter New Oxford Book of Carols said that it's an 18th century composition in a rustic style, whatever that means. It was first published in 1875. An English version of the lyrics was published in 1991. Sing aloud, a child is born. This is a time for celebrating. Sing aloud, the child is born. How the day at last is here. Such is the international popularity of this catchy tune that there's even a Mohawk Indian version. And they were from the Mohawk Reservation at Rogersonburg in the U.S. So we're going to try to play this for you. Our next song is We Three Kings. It's arranged by Valerie Stevenson, and it was written in 1857 by Reverend John Henry Hopkins. The minister is reported to have written the carol, We Three Kings of Orient, for the General Theological Seminary in New York City as part of their Christmas pageant. The lyrics of We Three Kings are traditional, And this arrangement, listen for malleting, where we hit it with the mallet of the bass bells, which is a different bell technique that gives a listener a feeling of a steady drum beat, or as I say, the camel hooves coming. And the kings, as they journeyed to Bethlehem, and this went on for years, so this is this steady sound that you want to hear. And listen for those camels, but we hope they slow it down enough so the rest of us can play. Our last piece, but you get to ring again, is O Come All Ye Faithful. This carol's generally attributed to John Wade, a British exile living in France after fleeing the Jacobean Rebellion, or something like that. He earned a living by teaching music and copying plain chant and hymn manuscripts for private use. Around 1741, Wade put the Latin text of Adestus Fidelis to music. There are little different conflicting theories about why he wrote it or how he wrote it, and did he really steal the words from an anonymous Latin hymn. But possibly one that was written in the 13th century. However, in 1853, the familiar English translation first appeared, attributed to the Reverend Frederick Oakley. "O Come All Ye Faithful" is reported to be the favorite Christmas carol of old-time President Dwight D. Eisenhower and the original form of Adestus Fidelis, President Thomas Jefferson. Mariah Carey recorded this carol. Another popular modern version is by Josh Groban, who recorded the song with the Mormon Tabernacle Choir and released it in 2007. And then Adestus Fidelis, Bing Crosby released the only version of this song to chart in the U.S., reaching number 45 in 1960. So I think it's a great ending to our little concert, because after all, we are the faithful, and we're going to come to church and worship the Lord. So we'd like to leave you with this thought in your mind. Thank you. Christmas. Come on, there's lots for you to do in this song. Over here, everybody. Bell. And I'll hold it. All right, this is where you get the British. They're going to bring some figgy pudding. Yeah. We actually, America, we have these old fruit cakes that you just give back year after year. I heard of one family that did that. They just exchanged it every year. Okay, you got a bell book C? Oh, fabulous. When it circles, you get to ring, okay? All right, starting pitch, we need that B again. All right, 1, 2, 3. There's something terribly wrong here.
That's what she says to us all the time.
Yeah. I need a B flat. B flat. Is that a B flat? We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good tidings to you and to all your kin. Good tidings for Christmas and a Happy New Year. Please bring us a figgy pudding. Please bring us a figgy pudding. Please bring us a figgy pudding. Please bring it right here. We won't leave until we get some. We won't leave until we get some. We won't leave until we get some. Please bring it right here. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Good job. And instead of figgy pudding, we've got cookies and other hors d'oeuvres in the back.